Thanks for being on, Bobby. We're recording.
All right, man. Thanks for having me. Here we go.
All right. Well, all the messed up stuff in the world, like the things that are going on, like the wildness in the news, Afghanistan, COVID, all this stuff. There's a bright and shining part, and it's Franklin Fit.
No, that's nice to hear. No, we appreciate that.
That's what.
We've had a lot of good feedback, so that's
Well,
good
it's fun to
stuff.
have you on and get to be able to talk about this as far as that goes. Explain a little bit about who you are and what you do there with that Franklin Fit stuff.
Yeah. My name is Bobby T. Brown. I'm a full-time police officer at Franklin Township Police Department. I've been there for 14 years. Right, currently serve as a detective in the investigative bureau. And it was last year. No, it was actually almost a little over a year ago when, like I said, 2020, the world was on its like upside down. Actually, 19 through 20, everything, between COVID and kids being home from school, and then a lot of mixed feelings between the community and policing, and there was just so much going on, and it really started to get me to think like, what could we do? What could I do to try to help, especially the kids in our town out, and help them realize that like the police are here to help you, and we have a lot more to offer than just responding to your house when something's going bad. So started talking to some friends, and I've been heavily involved with CrossFit for a long time. And it's like, hey man, well, what do you think about like kicking off like a free CrossFit gym run by the police? Like, I think we can do that. I think we can get that off. Um, and it's something that there's been other programs modeled like that elsewhere, but not quite the same. So, and anytime you do something new inside of a police department, can be a little difficult to try to get everyone to kind of sign on. But slowly but surely, chipped away, and then here we are. We're running. We're a full blown affiliate, running CrossFit for kids for free. From the surrounding areas, and predominantly from Franklin Township, meeting every Wednesday night doing CrossFit and having a great time doing it.
Do you run this thing like for on your off time, or is this while you're on the clock?
So my schedule varies. So I work 1 week of days and 1 week of afternoons. So we set this up so that we meet at 5:30 on Wednesday nights, and 1 week, some weeks I'm off and I come in after my shift to do it, and then some weeks I block out some time, if the manpower is strong enough to do it while I'm on my shift, while my partners are kind of holding it down. And it's an hour and a half class. Break set up to break down. So you know we started off with the goal like, hey, let's do it once a week, and now our numbers are kind of bumping up more and more, and it looks like hopefully within the next week or so we're going to be going to 2 times a week, and just keep building from there.
This is so cool that you started this thing for free and you're a full blown affiliate, like out of the
Yeah.
police station. And I'm, I mean, maybe you can't talk about it, but I'm curious the conversation of how you proposed that, and then the initial reaction with your like the police department when you proposed the idea.
Yeah, so like I said, it kind of started brewing in my head. Um, it was like, you know, around March, February, of last year. Don't quote me on that date, but I started kicking it around, and my captain, Captain Hebon, he had been working on getting a building in town to create a community relations center, right? So he was working on one end of this kind of whole setup, and I came in with this piece, the CrossFit piece. So he had like kind of the building in mind. I had something to do there it just kind of works out well. Obviously, with COVID going on, we knew we couldn't be indoors. That wasn't going to fly, just to try to keep everyone safe and, good with the regulations and all that. But it had a big parking lot and there's an overhang in the back. I'm like, hey, we could do it out of the gazebo. We can do it in the parking lot. We just need a place to meet. I knew it would be a reason to get people to come back to the building repeatedly. So pitched it to him. We sat down at the table. I'm like, he's familiar with CrossFit, but not in the way that a CrossFitter is. He's heard of it. He knows it's hard and, all the stuff that people generally know about CrossFit, or that we're a little bit kooky. And I was like, all right, I like this. So he's like, kind of formulate this on paper for me. Like, get it down on paper. Show me numbers. Show me what you need. What would you need to get started? What's your dream list? What's your gear list? So framed it out on paper for him. And then it kind of went up to the chain. We now have a new director, Director Sproul, who was also on board with trying to get more community-based programs running for our town. So this program was one of our first new programs that we've launched since she's came on board. Captain to director. Director's like, all right, I like the way it sounds. We started with a baseline. So he said, make a wish list. Make a wish list of like what you'd want. I made a big one. They told me you're crazy. I made a smaller one. They said, all right, we can work with that. And that really consisted of some barbells, a handful of bumpers, a couple plyo boxes, and I think one set of dumbbells, like 5 through 50, and which is a pretty good start, right? And we didn't know how many people we're gonna get, but I knew like if we got it going, it would catch fire. And so that was kind of like the very, very beginning. And I had been in contact with .com, with headquarters CrossFit, about this whole program long before we even got to like the equipment list. I was like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. Here's what I'm trying to do. What do you guys think? Do I qualify as a police affiliate? And because we were operating out of a police facility, they're like, yeah, this sounds great. We're on board. And boom, FTPD CrossFit was born. So for me, that was pretty cool too. I've coached at gyms. I still coach at an affiliate, but to be able to have our name on, that certificate, was pretty awesome. I was like, hey man, we're legit. So, and I wanted CrossFit, obviously everything CrossFit was going through at that time as well. I wanted to put on for CrossFit and be like, hey, you know what? There's a lot of good coming out of CrossFit that's been going on for a long time. That at that time, at that 2020, in that moment when this is all happening, it was also a bad time for CrossFit, right? So bringing it all together was really important to me to show people, hey, there's a lot of good that is coming out of, the police departments all over the country, and CrossFit gyms all over the country. So that was a big win when we got the affiliate. And then we started working towards our opening night.
Well, I mean, there's nothing better to. I'm surprised that they didn't even realize the impact that if CrossFit has as a community. So like, I'm not the guy that drinks the Kool-Aid and talks about it all the time, right? But I love it. I've been doing it for a long time, and the thing I notice is that it gave me a place for community when I didn't have anything else to do. There wasn't a hobby. Yeah. I met my friends there, like, and then you create these bonds with people, and you're providing that for the kids for free. The impact that will have, not only them seeing police officers, like getting to interact with police officers and seeing what they do and provide for them, but also the community you create between those kids as well. Like, that's a huge impact to get started off in life.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the reasons why I wanted it. I knew what CrossFit had done for me, and being involved with it for so long. Um, I didn't want it just to be like a workout or a boot camp. I wanted to try to create the same affiliate energy that we enjoy from our own gym experiences, for the kids, and pretty much bring the box to them, right? Bring the whole package, from the equipment to seeing your friends every week to wearing the shirt, having your affiliate shirt, all that stuff. And it I was like kind of just saying to my, the people, the powers that be, my supervisors, like, just trust me. Like, this is gonna work. This is gonna be great. Like, just watch. Just, it's gonna come, and it certainly did. And the first week we had, I want to say it was like 14 kids. We
Jeez.
had we had the shirts. We had shirts made up. My one of the owners from CrossFit Stealth, where I coach, he designed the shirt. My boy John did a fabulous job with those. So I had those printed up special. So we had coach shirts for my coaches, and all the athletes had something. They walked away with something, right? That they were now a part of that first week. And quickly, I was like, "Hey, we're gonna need more shirts." So every week we've gotten a little bit bigger. We've added more people to the roster. Um, and with kids schedules, they kind of come and go with whatever other sport they're playing, but our retention has been really good. We've had some people that have come and said, nah, this isn't for me, and that's okay. But for the most part, we've held almost all of our original members and just keep adding every week, so it's really awesome.
Well, now, so I guess how did the kids get there? How did you get the message out to the parents? Like, how did the advertising, the marketing go to get 14? I mean, 14 kids for anybody. My wife runs a CrossFit Kids program
Yeah.
at the gym. Like, she runs it from top to bottom, the whole thing. And to get 14 kids off the bat for a CrossFit Kids type program, or for the youth, you can say youth because you have older kids there, I've seen in your videos, but
Mm-hmm.
just to get them interested to go to something like that is wild, that you got 14 right off
Yeah,
the bat.
especially because it's not like, I think maybe a lot of these kids have heard about it, but they are new. They've heard of CrossFit, but it's not like, hey, we're going to be playing baseball, basketball, soccer. It's like there's a lot of mystery when it comes to, like, well, okay, what you're going to do CrossFit? What exactly is that? But as far as like promotion goes, I was I was going pretty hard on my Instagram. We did like a photo shoot with the coaches out in front of the building when our equipment came in. I was like, perfect. The shirts, we had the shirts. I don't think, no, we did not have the shirts at that time, but I got the coaches all and kind of like color coded, so we looked uniform and stuff. We brought out the equipment. We did a little photo shoot with the patrol car kind of in the background, just off to the background, and we did a workout. We shot it and we put that out on our social, kind of like coming in 3 weeks, FTPD CrossFit, Franklin Fit, kind of like a promotional video, nothing too professional. Uh, and that got a lot of views and people started talking about it. I was beating it over the head, on my social media. I'm from Franklin. I grew up here. I went to high school here. So I do have a lot of connections with the town and I know a lot of people that are still here and raising their kids here. So word of mouth was big. We were getting a lot of reposts just from, stuff I was putting out there, telling anyone who would listen that, hey, we're going to be kicking this off. And I wanted to try to, have a good showing on the first week. I knew we didn't need a ton, but I just wanted, a handful to get the ball rolling and it kind of just grow organically. Um, I think anything else, we had it on a department Facebook page, our website. So, and like you said, you can't really write it all out. You just kind of got to get them there. And then from there, that first week, I had one of my coaches, my buddy Malcolm. I'm like, dude, and my friend Juan as well. I'm like, dude, you got to take a lot of video, a lot of pictures. Because we need to pump this out there so people see what we're up to. Like, they're not going to get it unless they see, oh, they're lifting weights and they're doing this and they're running, they're sweating, and that looks pretty interesting. And so every week I was making sure that, obviously for the constantly varied piece is important in fitness, but the constantly varied, to keep showing like, hey, they're doing something different every week. This is completely different than what they did last week. Like, try to make it a little intriguing, try to keep the kids, keep it real fresh for the kids, never repeat a movement, 2, 3 weeks in a row, just kind of grabbing different pieces. All that stuff kind of, it's really just self-promoted itself. Just trying to, every week just put a lot out there. Here's what we're doing. If you want to be, involved, come on down. This is the times, here's the location. So that's how we did most of our recruiting. And then the kids were doing it too. Like, first couple of weeks, people started bringing their friends. Hey, this is my buddy, so-and-so. I told my buddy from the football team, he's coming. So we got a lot of, promotion that way from the athletes within the program, that's like the best kind of promotion, is when the people that are doing it are dragging people in the gym. So
Yeah, yeah. So it must have been enjoyable and memorable for those kids whenever they got in there. Because I know when you see the excitement on a kid's face, like somebody younger, you see the excitement on their face when they do something and that in that atmosphere. So that atmosphere is super important. Like when it's created and you feel fired up, like when you hit something good and the coach says, that's it right there, just do it like that. Or, even if
yeah,
it's a minor improvement. So they must have felt that impact where they're telling all of their friends to like, come on down.
yeah, that was cool. When you realize that, because in the moment they're working out, they have that, like, that workout face on, kind of, they're all looking like they're a little bit tired and not really enjoying themselves. But then for them to come back the next week with a friend, two friends, wearing the shirt, like, to me, that's the biggest thing. When, I'm sure part of it is like, hey, mom, dad's like, get your Frego Fit shirt. But, you know, we're having kids now showing up, 45 minutes early to class, wearing the shirt, and riding there on their bike. To me, and like, you know, that says everything right there. It's like they're there and they want to help set up. They want to know what the workout is before anyone else is there. They want to bring out the equipment and start warming up, trying stuff. They pretty much got extra time. That's how they look at it. So, you know, it's all this stuff. I'm sure I'm probably trying to answer questions that haven't even been asked, but
Oh no, it's just
once it,
no, you're good. Just talk away, man. Like it's just a
yeah,
conversation. My mind's running like with so many things.
yeah.
Like I'm sitting there thinking, I'm wondering, did you worry like after that first day, did you worry how many kids were gonna come back when you see their faces and they leave and you have the uncertainty of like, is everybody gonna come back and are all my people that are approving this in the department, are they gonna be happy if nobody shows up the second day or the second, all those
Yeah.
things that might be running through your head.
Yeah. I mean, the first week, you know, that first week is like a 14-person beginners class. So, for all the coaches who might be listening, like, normally your beginners class might be 1 to 2 athletes, maybe 3, that, had never touched a barbell or never, have had this high intensity kind of experience. So, I kind of had a plan, and as we're doing the warm up, I'm like, scratch that. That plan is going to be too challenging. Let's. I wanted to make sure the first workout was so winnable, but in their heads, it was like that would have been easy, But I knew it still wasn't going to be easy once we applied it. So I turned it basically into like a front. It was like a air squat, push up, and like a short run, right? Just a very a basic gauge of like, all right, let's see how long these kids can move consistently. And it was like, I started at 12 minutes, and we don't have a clock, right? We don't have a big clock yet. We still run everything off a small clock because I don't like them to look for the clock. So I kind of manage it. And it started as a 12-minute piece, and it quickly was changed to a 10-minute piece. But they didn't know that. We kept it like, all right, guys, oh, all right, we're going to shave off 2 more minutes off of this. Cause I felt like I'm losing them. Right. I'm like, so I shaved it down to 10. They survived. Everyone had a good time. And then quickly they're like, oh, that wasn't that bad. I'm like, little did you know, I took 2 minutes off. I kept that to myself. I'm like, all right. So they leave the first workout and I'm like, I think it wasn't good. We'll just see how many come back for week two. And we had more week two. And I'm like, oh, it was a long week of going like, this better work, you know, and I knew it would. And it's just, the natural reaction, like you, you do it, you put that much energy into something. You're like, oh, you have that self-doubt. You're like, oh no, hope these kids liked it. And it's not like we have like Wodify right now or a way to kind of verify how many people are coming in the next class. So we didn't know till week two, 5:20, where's everybody at? And then all the cars start showing up, the bikes start showing up, and again, a full class. So we've even had to change the day, excuse me, from time to time because of the weather. Like we've had a couple bad thunderstorms. It's some like brutally hot days where it was just not going to be safe out on the pavement for the kids to exercise. So we've changed it to like a Thursday instead of a Wednesday. And I'm like, oh, this is the week we're going to get a goose egg. We changed the date. None of the kids are going to show up on Thursday. 18 person class, 20. We've hit the biggest class we've had so far is 24.
Jeez
24.
Louise.
24 made me go, okay, we need to split this. We need to, have two classes. But but I don't want to do that too soon because they loved having 24. For me as a coach, I'm like, okay, 24 is a lot. 24, I don't want it to be too watered down. I want it to be impactful. I still want it to be fun, but the kids really enjoyed the big class. So whenever we have a big class, we try to do more like big team relays. So right now I'm still in I'm trying to get as many fish in the net as I can, and then we could start to divide it up and really, kind of hone in on what we're doing with each group, kind of like divide it up into age groups, maybe a little bit more. But right now I just want as many kids there and to see how many I can get to stick, but before we're going to be at a year, which is kind of trippy. It's already it's the end of August. And to think we've been doing this now since March, it's kind of flown by.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything in the last 2 years, it seems like they were supposed to have slowed down, but everything seemed to speed up. Like everything seemed to go so fast. I'm actually I'm super impressed. And people don't know my wife is a coach. She does both things, like the kids stuff. I laughed. In my mind, I smiled and laughed because she's done the same thing with kids where you have an idea of workouts and then you have to change it on the fly because it didn't work out. And you don't say anything. You just change it on the fly and keep going. They don't know any different. They're like, everybody's happy at the end. You're like, whew,
Yeah.
man, we made it through that one, and I help her out. So I kind of get the feeling of it. But I'm really impressed with, I don't think enough people know, and maybe you can explain a little, being a coach yourself, having 24 or 14, that high, even 14, 10 new people, trying to teach 10 new people something, and how chaotic that can be for a coach.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, it can be tough with adults. And I try to use that as a frame of reference for the kids sometimes. I'll point an example. Last week we had 18, and we've been working up now. So, a lot of them, I would say maybe we have 10 that have been coming since March that were there that day, and then 8 newish people. So I try to use like kind of like a leadership method where I'll grab like my oldest guy, my oldest girl, the ones that are the most senior that have been coming the most. I'm like, hey, like I need you guys to be locked in today because people are looking at you to try to figure out how to do this. Like, you know it better than Jimmy, right? Or this new kid over here. I need you to be the example. I'll be in front teaching it. I want you to be first row, killing it, So they're looking at not only me, but they're looking at you. And I think that goes a long way, because that says, like, I'm kind of like making you like the squad leader, right? Like, I'm a military guy. So that, to me, that like that, I'm giving them a responsibility. This is your job. I need you to look sharp doing this. I need you to be squared away to this. And you two, I need you guys not to talk the whole time. I need, like, you guys, I know you guys are best friends, but please, like, let's be focused, right? And they're like, okay, coach, all right, I got you. And so that's one of the big things I try to do for the group. And then another one for the kids is like, when they're killing it, I try to let them know that, like, give them that feedback. Like, dude, you guys are crushing this. Like, just try to keep putting it out there. Like, and it's not like, when it's genuine, because the last week with the snatch, we did a hang power snatch, and they were crushing the progression. I mean, we could hear the footwork, and they're turning over the bar fast. So I'm very impressed, and it was very exciting for me, because I love Olympic weightlifting. So it's like, when they were snappy and crushing it, and you could have heard a pin drop between sets as they're switching out partners on the bar. They're taking ownership of learning the skill. And so I'm not just like telling them that they did a good job so I can get that, like, oh, I did a good job. Like, oh, I'm actually like, hey, you guys are really doing a good job. I cannot, sometimes it might be this hard to get adults to do it this good. So for them, it's like, oh, wow, I'm doing it better than an adult. And it's not a fib. It's not a lie. It's truth. They're like, I think they have a lot less hangups than adults. Their egos are a lot smaller. So I'm like, guys, you got to be willing to mess up, and don't worry if you mess up, you drop the bar, whatever. We're here to learn. We're here to do something you've never done before. I expect you to mess up. I hope that you mess up, but don't be scared to mess up. That's how you're gonna slow your progress, right? Let's mess up. We'll shake it off. I'll tell you what you did wrong. We'll fix it. So their willingness to go for it, and they don't have any habits, let alone bad habits. So some of these kids are 12 years old, 12 to 17, 11, 10. That, having a barbell in your hand for the first time is a big thing. Like, I didn't have any exposure to any of this stuff until I was almost 25, where Olympic lifting and learning how to snatch in my buddy's garage. So the stuff that they're doing is very impressive. So it's one of the things I thought I needed to do was keep it simple to keep their attention. And to me, I felt that was a mistake. After doing it for a couple of weeks, if it was too simple, they would drift. If it was push-ups and air squats, they would kind of like, they would drift in between instruction. Where it's complex and kind of exciting, they're like, okay, they're engaged, because this is a challenge. This is not going to be easy. So I was a little tentative to do the power snatches, hang power snatch, squat, overhead squat. When you put a little something, a little bit more advanced, I seem to be able to keep their attention longer. So, and they're not babies, so it's not like the super young kids. They're all teenagers or preteen. So they're ready to roll, and they're you could tell that they're open for the challenge. So for me, it was like, okay, best way to keep them engaged is to keep it exciting. I got to keep it exciting. So that when it came time for new equipment, especially just the last stuff we've just picked up, I'm like, I got to keep the equipment engaging as well. So, and not only that, it's not just me out there. I do have a handful of other officers and detectives and supervisors that have been helping me out with this. We have a kind of a core group that have been coming in and, kind of being the sheep herders, going around and saying, hey, making the micro adjustments while I'm doing like kind of the whole class as a whole from the front. they're going around fixing the little things. So putting out little fires, which is huge. So excuse me. So together we have this nice team, and it's been going really, really good as far as, so keeping their attention. It's been a learning process. I'll say that much, but it's going really well.
I love hearing you say like how much thought you put into it and how simple programming can be, but also how you put thought about getting into the minds of your clientele. So like you
Yeah.
basically are getting into the minds of your audience and saying what is it that they're going to like and what is it going to keep them engaged, because that's one of the most important things I tell everybody whenever they start into fitness. It doesn't matter if it's CrossFit, jiu-jitsu, cycling, whatever, you name it, whatever it is. If you don't enjoy it, you won't stick with it, and that's just the
Yeah.
case.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's the same thing. Like, as for even, I do some programming for our gym, for the adult gym. And there've been plenty of workouts that I've written up that I know people probably didn't like that because they just were too, they're, they're terrible workouts. Like, as far as like what they're going to do to you and how it's going to feel. And it's going to be a great workout, but you have no desire to do it because it's so simple and so nasty. You're like, oh, I do not want to do this, the 100, that 50 burpee buy-in into this, you know. So sometimes you got to throw people a bone and kind of, slide a couple fun movements in there that is going to change it up. Like, okay, all right. I'm not saying that you're tricking anybody, but you know, big kids like to use the bikes and do the muscle ups and the the programming has to be fun even for adults. Kids, adults the same way. You're gonna look at certain workouts and go, "Oh, I want to try that. I want to see how that how I can make that work for me." So some of the stuff that the same stuff that we do with the adults is carried right over to the kids. Some not, but it's definitely been a learning process, and it's been a lot of fun to just you know because a lot of times I'll have an idea of what the workout is going into Wednesday night, but like I said, I had no clue on a couple things: how many people are coming, what ability level of the kids that are coming, where they're at, um, what the sky's gonna do, if it's gonna open up, start raining on me, and and as people start to show up, it's like, all right, it's just constantly evolving till they're all standing in front of the whiteboard. Then I'm like, all right, here's what we got. I got it. So it, it's been a lot of fun.
Do you get a
He's
lot of?
keeping me sharp.
Yeah, I can only imagine. That is a super fluid, changing situation where like you
Yeah,
don't have the set classes like at your other gym you probably have the
yeah.
majority,
That's
same
good.
people,
That
afternoon,
workout's
mornings.
happening.
Right, right. That
Yeah,
workout's happening, but you don't know in this one, like that's a total wild card is what you've got to be prepared for as a coach. This really speaks a lot to how you're running the program. And then another thing I like is how on your Instagram you treat those kids like they're in the adult class, which I think a lot of people might get confused. I see a lot of people doing that, like if you coach baseball or you coach anything else,
hmm
they want to be treated like the big class. Like they want to be treated like you're on their level. And you talk to them on your video, you're like busting their chops. I love like watching them when they're lifting because you can see the joy and banter on their face. Like when you banter with them, you can see like that they're engaged and this is going great.
yeah. I mean, I had, as far as my coaching style and my personality is kind of, I don't know, it's as I guess you gather that stuff from the people that have either coached you or mentored you or kind of raised you up. So like coming from the military side, I had that little bit of like tough love. My coaches in high school, my swim coach, Coach Bird, was a very authoritative, loud voice that you could hear underwater. You know, you could hear him yelling as you're swimming. But it was the nicest guy, right? But was the same guy that could give you like dating advice on the bus back from the swim meet. You know, like he was a great example of what it was to be a great leader, a good coach who could be stern, get the most out of you physically, and get you to push to a place that you didn't think you were capable of, but was still that guy that, you know, so many years later was at my wedding, my wife and I's wedding. We still have a relationship to this day. Um, so coming in when I started coaching CrossFit, you know, here at my house at first, and then with, you know, coaching at other gyms, I was always big on like being friends and being, you know, developing relationships, but at the same time, when it's time to work out, I kind of don't play around. I like to push. I like to be aggressive. You know, I like to like, it's almost like you're flipping a switch when it's time to train. And I think that's important to tell kids. It's like, hey, there's a time to laugh and joke and play and kid and this and that. And but when we're training, let's go be someone else. Let's be someone different. Or let's just be us training. But it should be a departure a little bit from who you are when you're eating cereal or watching TV, or you know, you're hanging out with your friends. This is you training. Like let's be different people right now. And I try to give them that little pep talk before every class, because I'm like, all right, all right, like we're flipping it now. Let's go. We're not, no more smoking and joking, that kind of like hanging out at the whiteboard stuff. We're gonna kick it into gear, and I want your focus and I want your attention. And then when you do great, and when it's over, we'll flip it right back to kicking it, having fun. We're still having fun while we're working, but I want them to experience the joy of that hard work, and they're being that into something for whatever, 10, 15 minutes. I want you to see how fun that being really good at something can be. Right. And it doesn't just because you're not laughing and you're not giggling in that moment doesn't mean you're not having the time of your life. Right. There's nothing better than crushing a workout or doing really good, or hitting a PR, or, you know, lifting something you did not think you were capable of and going, I just did that. You know, that's a lot of fun. You know, working hard can be a lot of fun. So I said, the sooner I can get you guys to accept that concept, that the better you're going to be at everything, not just CrossFit. You know, that's how you're going to, you know, kicking butt in school is a lot of fun too. Getting good grades can be a lot of fun. You know, all that stuff. You know, turning that switch and just being all into what you're doing can be applied to so many other things other than thrusters and burpees, right? So the same way we in the CrossFit gym take that hard work, you know, that code of ethics inside of the gym, and then apply it to your regular life, your relationships, you know, your family life, your yard work, whatever, your household chores. Being all in, you know, being really committed to what you're doing, that kind of carries over outside the gym into all, you know, aspects of life. So the kids are starting to get that, and I could tell they're starting to get that because I can just see the look on their face, you know. So that's been a big thing with me, and the coaching relationship is so special because, you know, now I can see myself, and I think back to my coaches and to the people who mentored me and the guys who taught me how to CrossFit. To be the one that's doing it on this side is, especially for the young kids, you kind of can forget about it being so special when you're coaching adults, right? When you're doing it with the kids, and the parents are sending you a nice text, or writing you a nice letter or something, like, you know, when you're hearing some response from a parent that their kid told them that how much they're enjoying this and how much they're seeing a change, or their football coach is noticing a change, that's the stuff that really is so rewarding about this whole thing. And yeah, it's powerful stuff.
It really is. And I actually just had that conversation. I was on the phone with my mom today and I was telling her, it's like, man, I get so much more excited when my kids have success or something they like to do. Like my son just got on the tennis team and I'm fired up about it, right? And I'm like, why
Mm-hmm.
am I so much happier from my son's success than I am for anything that I've done or do? Like everything that's
Yeah.
normal, but I'm finding it where, like you said, the parents writing you a note. There's something about training, like getting that note from younger people where it's like they're they're starting something. You're like, you're gonna be better than the rest of us because you're starting at
Yeah.
this level. And you started at 20 something. I started at in my mid 30s, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna be so much better than us. And that is it's beautiful. It's an awesome thing to watch that like grow and blossom. I got all of that. Like I feel all of that stuff that you said.
Yeah. I mean, it's happening. It's happening short term. Like we've had kids that were like scared, very not scared, but like very shy, painfully shy the first couple of weeks that, could barely answer. We do a question of the day, which is something that we took from our affiliate from CrossFit Stealth that we do at our gym, which I love, is that, we have a question of the day. It could be something like, what's your favorite ice cream? Something simple just to get you to talk. But you lead off with your name, like what's your name and what's your favorite flavor of ice cream. And we've had weeks where it was like, you know, and I'm like, hey, that's not acceptable. Like we're gonna, we need to hear your name, so you got to speak loudly, and we want to hear your answer, so have some volume. And now we can get, hi, my name is Sarah, and my favorite flavor is chocolate. We can get a nice loud verbal response, so I could tell she's more comfortable now. That's a change, right? Boom. That has nothing to do with working out. It's just personality. Now we're a tribe. We're not strangers anymore. So that's a change. Then that same person went from terrified to really just go for it, right? To try the movements, to kind of be all in, right? Um, and that, so we were doing weightlifting last couple of weeks. And I'm like, hey, you can't kind of snatch, you can't kind of clean and jerk. You either do it or you don't, because it's fast, it's explosive, it's poppy. You don't just kind of float into one. You got to turn in, you got to go, right? And now, like literally last week, we did, like I said, did the hang power snatch, and she had by far one of the best performances of the day, and her technique was outstanding just because she's now able to let go and just do it, right? Not be so guarded, which is freeing. I'm sure it's got to feel a lot better than it did week one, where it's like, oof, like she's scared of what people are going to say or do or watch, I'm like, no one cares. Do you, right? Like, do your thing. No one's gonna laugh at you, because they're all worried about the same stuff. They all don't want to miss this lift either. So just do it. Just go for it. So seeing those changes in this short span of time is been it's made me go like, if we, the team, can get her to change this much in 6 months, if she stays with us by the time she leaves high school, who knows, what kind of changes, or what kind of athlete we might have or, be dealing with by the time she's a senior in this program, so that's, one of my main goals of this program was that a lot of our police programs over the years have never been long-term engagement, right? So it's been like, this weekend we're going to do this, or this Friday we're going to do this program, but it's just a one and done, which is, that's, it's not a bad thing. It just could have been better, right? So with CrossFit, we have the ability to have this constantly rolling thing, no planned end date, to stay engaged with our tribe long term. where it's, so we still have parents going, all right, so when is this over? I'm like, it's not. And they're like, what do you mean it's not? I'm like, we're going to keep going. We're going to roll. We're going to go for as long as they let me do this, as long as we have the time to get it done, we're going to do this. And we're probably going to do it more often. And a lot of them are very surprised. They're like, oh, like, really? I'm like, yeah. So allowing us to stay in their lives for longer, the longer we can coach CrossFit, the longer we can like sneak in these little life lessons as well, which is something I like to try to do too with class, and just try to have that, like, hey, this isn't just a one and done. This isn't a 3-week program. This isn't a summer program. This is a lifestyle, life changing program that hopefully when you're done with us and you age out, that you're going out there to join an affiliate, or you're going to coach at a gym, or go to the games, who knows, so having that long-term goal and like, hey guys, we're just getting started. Like, I have plans for you guys 3 years from now. How does that sound? Like, imagine when you're doing this for 3 years and they're like, dude, I'm gonna be strong. I'm like, yeah, you're gonna be real strong.
Not only
So
that, you made me think of something when you said this, and it just popped in, like, and it's so true. But what you said about the, like, police departments doing a function on a weekend, like a community function, there's no vulnerability in that for the police department to get to know the kids or the community. Like, there is no vulnerability. It's just superficial small talk. That's like the small talk version of, like, passing by. But when you're spending every day on a consistent basis with somebody, they get to see who you really are. Like, then you create that bond.
Yeah. So, like, last week was my wife's birthday, and on Wednesday night. So August 18th was Franklin Fit, and we celebrated several times for her birthday, but we did, and she was like, oh, so what are we doing tomorrow? I was like, hey, tomorrow's Franklin Fit. She was like, oh, right. All right. Well, I'll see you when you get home. So, and she understands how important this project is to myself, the team, to the town. And that, she knows that I have other people that can be there, but I want to be there. And our son goes as well. So that's another big thing for us, is that my son's involved. So it's an important commitment. And like I said, yeah, we're going to miss things. It might not always line up perfectly with life's schedule to be there, but like I said, it's a long-term commitment, where we're going to drag the gear out, every Wednesday, hopefully, in the coming weeks, every Monday and Wednesday. To the point where it's like, it's regular. And like I said, I don't think there's definitely nothing bad with a one-off program from the police department. And I wouldn't want it to be looked upon that way, but there is a considerable level, a lot more involvement when it's a weekly occurring thing, and I said, and it just makes it so much more authentic when, you can get, and it's authentic from everybody, not just on our end, not from the police side. It's because anyone can show up to an event one day. Hey, I'm giving out free hats, someone's going to come get those hats. Yep. And I'm going to be there to give them out. But I'm like, hey, I'm giving out free CrossFit every Wednesday. All right, well, someone might come for the first time, but are they going to come every week? So it's an investment on both sides. It's the police side for us putting on the program, but the kids have to be invested too. The parents are obviously invested. They're bringing their children to. Some of them are driving. Some of the kids are old enough to ride their bikes or to walk to the program. But as a parent myself, I know it can be a commitment. When your kids are doing sports, it's a big commitment from the parents as well. But everyone's locked in. So, we're obviously doing something right, and the kids are digging it. The parents are digging it. So, it's been great. and I think it's been eye opening for a lot of people at the department who didn't quite understand how powerful or how wide reaching the CrossFit community really was. They've known me as the CrossFit guy for years, as the guy who was heavily into this stuff, but I don't think they knew how much attention it would grab from people in town, people I know from years of just being involved with CrossFit, social media, like donations, all that stuff. I think that for them, it was like, oh, okay, this makes a little more sense now why he knew this was going to kind of pop, so.
Yeah, well, when you're in it, I mean, it seems from the outside, it seems like this crazy thing that everybody's doing. Like, it seems like this wild. They see the games thing. They hear people talk about it. The shoes, the clothing, all the way around. They see it and they're just like, oh my gosh, that's just too intense and too many things. And the guys don't have their shirts on. The girls don't have their shirts on. And they're running around like a bunch of animals. And it's like it's almost a violent scene if you walk into a class. Like this intensity.
Yeah.
But when you actually go there and do it, you realize it's none of the things that you had in your head. It's totally different than that. So you knew it and explaining it to them and getting this whole thing to work out and then seeing the progress and the success of the program is really cool. Like what you built and what the police department has built there and with your help and everything. I love the whole situation. Like, it's an amazing thing that kids get to see police officers like yourself running such a free program, consistent. They know you're there every single week, and they get that sort of service from it, and you guys get to build a bond, and then you watching the kids and all that, and it's just this circle of just awesome. Like it's a success for everybody.
Well, yeah, and then now, like, I have some kids that are 17. They're going into senior year. We have one of our athletes at Franklin Fit is also a CrossFit Stealth athlete. Our buddy Avery, he trains at Stealth pretty much full time, and then comes to Franklin Fit on Wednesday nights. Oh, excuse me, I shouldn't have drank that seltzer. So Avery's been coming, right? And so I've been telling the class, kids in the class, I'm like, yeah, Avery also trains at CrossFit Stealth because, he joined Stealth because he wanted to get better for football season. He wanted to gain some weight. He wanted, kind of like tighten up, get a little more power. He knew this was actually, I think he's a junior this year. So he knew this was a big year for him. He wanted to really come on strong, grab a starting spot. So, and he's one of our bigger, stronger athletes. So, being able, it's not like I'm not like purposely cross promoting like CrossFit Stealth, but I'm like, hey, if you guys are enjoying this when you get older, I would hope to see you guys join a CrossFit gym. So a lot of these kids are joining, are starting to follow me on social media and stuff. And I'll post stuff I'm doing, working out. And now the kids are seeing the inside of my gym with me doing the things that I'm having them do, and go like, oh, okay, like this makes sense because he's doing it too. But he's got all these bumpers on the side of his. That looks crazy. And then so the other night I had one of our kids is like, could you give me more information? Like what is it like at CrossFit Stealth, and how often can you go? And so he's old enough now that he would be old enough to participate at Stealth. And I think no one's forcing it down anyone's throat, right? We're not saying like you have to, when you do this 17, you really should, join an affiliate. Otherwise you're not going to progress. But all we're doing is providing that example of like, hey, this is what I'm doing, and this is how I do it. And I'm not saying if you don't do it, it's bad, but the kids are seeing our example, and they're like, hey, that looks awesome. I would like to take it to the next level, So, if the kids are following me and they're seeing me doing, clean and jerks at Stealth, and that's firing them up, and that's great too. It's all, just the same way as I might be following, Jason Khalipa or Rich Froning. We all have the people we follow on Instagram, and you see them training, like it just makes you want to get up and go to the gym. So if I can be that to one of my kids, that's if they think I'm it could be a gains athlete, that and it inspires them to train more or do more. That's dope. That's what it's all about.
That is what it's all about, man. That is what it's all
Yeah,
about. That's a perfect way to end it, dude. So,
yeah, man.
hey, man, let everybody know where the gym is, like where you can find it, and how people outside can support. Because I think you sell shirts and stuff on there too.
Yeah. So yeah, that was the way we got our most of our equipment through the sale of these shirts, um, which is our Franklin Fit shirt. We did 2 runs of the shirts, and we're waiting on the second run to come in. But we raised, between the sale of the shirts and people just making direct donations for equipment, we raised over, right at the $12,000, which is
Dude,
blew my mind.
yeah,
I
that's
couldn't believe
incredible.
it when we hit that number, and that was in like two 1.5 week periods, like 2 separate blocks. We sold shirts, and people were like, "Well, how much did you sell?" And I'm like, we've raised $6,000," and it kind of made me go like, "Holy!" And then after we stopped that run and we did the second run, another six. So like I said, we have 3 Echo bikes coming in this week for the kids, which is sick to be able to provide that. But anyway, so right now we're just, I'm still developing some things. I still need to set some things up to be able to accept donations appropriately and in the best way possible. Right now, we've been, telling people, if you want to donate directly, contact me. Equipment donations are always easiest, as far as like avoiding red tape, right? So I kind of have like a wish list, and if people want to contact me, we can have a conversation on what we're looking for, or what things are still out there that we could use. Something as simple as jump ropes was donated to us, and that was a big help. Um, so donation wise, that's really still, we're in the phase of equipment building, gathering. So everything kind of, I've been running through my Instagram, which is BT Brown 311, and that is my tag. And our website is at the Franklin Township. I believe it's franklintownship.org, or the Franklin Township website is a township website, and that's where our link is for our page. It's kind of like a roundabout way to get there. We're still babies, so maybe hopefully soon we'll have a website and our own Instagram page for the gym.
Well, you can go
But
there
right
and
now,
just tag you have the link in your Instagram, don't you?
yeah. Oh, the tag for, yes. If you
Yeah.
go to my Instagram, yeah. Thank you. You saved me there. If you
I
go to
was
my
like,
Instagram, the township website is in my bio. So if you go there and you click on Franklin Fit, the sign up sheet's there, and you kind of get an overview of the program. And I also have it on my Instagram page. I have it in the highlights. You can see the videos from the Franklin Fit program kind of in one highlight. And I pretty much post about it every week anyway. So it's like my wife, my kids, Franklin Fit. That's like my arsenal of photos. But yeah, BT Brown 311. That's my tag.
best way, and then
And
they can just DM you and they can figure out like how
yeah,
to help you, because it really is, man. I'm fired up. I wish this was everywhere. I wish people had the same sort of like drive and belief, and just, even if it's not CrossFit, like the idea of what you're doing is perfect.
yeah.
Like it's perfect.
Yeah. So I mean, if there's any, like I said, if there's any police officers out there, or guys, guys, girls doing programs, or want to get in a program started like this, I want to chat, want to kick it. we could talk how it went for me and how it's going for you. And if you're, have any questions, I'd be more than happy to chat with anyone trying to get something rocking like this. Where are you? Aaron? Where are you
I live in
based out
College
of?
Station, Texas. So
Okay.
kind of
All
like
right.
it. You know what Texas A&M is?
Yeah.
The Aggies. Yeah, that's where I live.
Okay.
Yep.
All
I
right.
always say I'm an
Well, we're
Aggie by
here.
marriage.
Where are you from originally?
I grew up in the very tip of Texas, on the border of Mexico, and right by South Padre
Oh,
Island. Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
Been Texas my whole life, man.
Yeah. I'm here right in the center of Jersey. We're right by where like Rutgers, New Brunswick area. That's
So
like
we
smack
took
in
a
the middle.
we took a trip up there.
Hmm.
We took a trip. I didn't. I was actually really surprised at how much I enjoyed really the whole East Coast. Um, but we took a trip to New York and drove around in a minivan all the way down the coastline. Like we hit Philly, but we spent a couple days in New York and
Hmm.
the whole thing. I really enjoyed the area. Like there's something
Yeah.
nice about like I loved it. The whole East Coast area, the everything, the vibe, the loyalty that the people have to their town and their city or whatever is just it's super cool. So and we drove I want to say we drove through Rutgers at some point. And I remember seeing the basketball courts, and I was like, "Dude, that's awesome right there!" Like that
Yeah.
hit. So much history has been made right there in that area. There, like
Yeah.
so much sports history.
Yeah, man. First college football game is at Rutgers. I
Really?
believe that's it. Yeah. I want to say that's one of the things that they're known for. I'm not a huge Rutgers fan, but I support them.
Good.
Now I have to look that up. I'm pretty sure it was the first. It was the first college football game was at Rutgers.
That's gonna be
I'm
pretty rad if
99.
that's the case.
I want to say I want to say that's right. I'm pretty sure. I'll text you when we're done here. 'Cause that's the first thing I'm going to Google after that came out of my mouth. But yeah, yeah. So it's a cool area. But again, man, thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure to come out and talk to someone who's interested in what we're doing, and it's helpful to us to spread the word. Um, it's very flattering to me that people are interested in what we're doing with this program. And I know I talk about like what I've done, and like I said, I'd like to end it with like it's a big team effort here, with what we're doing. Yeah, yeah, it started up here in my head, but without the people at the department, co-signing and doing a lot of legwork for me, and everyone who's helping me every week, it's a real big team effort, and I'm just glad it's all come together for the good of the kids, and hopefully in this time next year we can sit down, have a 1 year check in, and see where we're at.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm down. That would be so awesome, man. And I'll definitely keep following it. I'm gonna stay up to date all the time because I dig it, man. The whole thing. Thank you for
Yeah,
being on.
cool, man.
This has been awesome.
Yeah, no